Alrighty, good evening, Arkansas. This is Assistant Chief Forecaster coming back here once again. I'm here to give you guys a live update going over the winter weather ongoing across western and southwestern Arkansas at this time here, what to expect for this evening, etc. here. So, before everybody starts asking questions about specific cities and counties, we've got a million of them right now, so be patient with us, guys. I know we've got winter weather ongoing across the state at this point. I got to go over a bunch of information and stuff like that, and I'm going to try to get to everybody as I can. But I want everybody to exhibit a little bit of patience with us, guys, because we've got a million questions we're trying to get to at this point. Okay, so at this time here, if you're not hearing any sound, you may want to leave the live stream and come back in. I'm getting sound on my end. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but anyways, we've got winter weather ongoing across western and southwestern Arkansas at this time here. Here's current temperatures across the board. So let's go ahead and take a look at this right now. We've got Fayetteville right around 34 degrees right now. We've got Fort Smith at 36. Mena. You guys went from 42 degrees to 32 now with winter weather going on over there at this point. 37 near Mount Ida, 39 in Hot Springs, 39 in Arkadelphia, 43 down here in El Dorado, 41 in Texarkana, also near 50 degrees down here in Lake Village. So this is basically fitting to our winter weather outlook that we had this morning across the area here. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk to you guys about that real quickly here. Before I get into that information, let's talk about the winter weather advisory. Those folks up there in Benton County this morning, you guys weren't under one, now you're now under a winter weather advisory. It's going to go until 3 a.m. this morning, tomorrow morning, midnight tonight to 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. Mixed precipitation expected. We're talking 1 to 2 inches of snowfall across the area. Also, we're talking some higher amounts and higher elevations, higher terrain could see some localized areas as well. One of my moderators, if y'all can, please take care of the comments as well. But at this current point, this is what we've got. So the winter weather advisory across western, northwestern Arkansas. I want to stress to you guys right now, this is not going to be a winter storm. Okay, I know everybody sees winter weather. We've got a lot of reports of wrecks out there right now. Use patience, okay? Do not try to be a speed racer on these roadways, guys. You need to take it easy on the roadways. This is not a winter storm. I want to repeat, this is not a winter storm for Arkansas, okay? So keep that in mind. If you're up there in northwestern Arkansas, higher elevations, take it easy on the roadways, guys. We're expecting some hazardous conditions up there as we get towards late tonight, first part of your Tuesday morning. But if you are outside of this winter weather advisory, I'm not expecting any travel issues, but you need to exhibit patience, okay? Do not try to speed on the roadways. It's not worth all that, folks, okay? We've got all these wrecks that have happened in Fayetteville and Little Rock. You don't even want to see I drive right now. So take it easy on the roadways, guys. Be patient, calm down. I promise you guys, it's not the end of the world, okay? So keep that in mind across the area here. But the winter weather advisory across northern and western Arkansas at this point. Also, let's talk about a winter weather advisory. This is the updated version. A little bit of a tweaking here and there, nothing major, but the updated version of the winter weather outlook for this evening here. Okay, the area in purple is I don't want to know why that did not update, but the area in purple is going to be the light rainfall, the mix going over to light snow, and then the area in white is going to be the area for all snow here. Okay, so keep that in mind across the board. Let me double check something here. I don't know why that did not update. It should have updated. Let me see that didn't. For some reason it didn't update on my end. But anyways, that just goes to what we're talking about here. So that area in purple is going to be what we call that rain to winter mix to ending in light snow, and then up there in northwestern Arkansas, we're talking all snow up here at this point. Accumulations. Now let's talk about accumulations real quickly here. Okay, as I mentioned before, this is not a winter storm for Arkansas, okay? You have too much warm air and stuff like that. This is not going to be a massive winter storm for us here in the natural state. However, for our folks here in central Arkansas, it's going to be very, very light impact. I know everybody sees that winter weather ongoing right now. Take it easy, guys, okay? I promise you, we're not expecting any major impacts here in central Arkansas. Northern Arkansas and winter weather advisory, we're talking 1 to 2 inches of snowfall. Some locally higher amounts can be possible the higher you go up into elevation. Also, western and southwestern Arkansas as well. Mena, you've gotten some snow this afternoon, this evening. We've heard other reports over there as well. But the accumulations are just going to be much greater in the higher elevations with this system than it is down in the valley areas. Okay, so keep that in mind across the area here. Now, that does not mean we're not going to see any snowfall in Central Arkansas or anything like that. I do believe it's going to be a very brief period of a transition over to snow. However, I don't think it's going to be a significant amount across the area here. So this is not going to be a winter storm or anything like that here at this point. Okay, and I want to talk to you guys about this as well, because I know a lot of people see this, especially in November, and they immediately throw the white flag on winter. This is not winter yet. We are still in fall. It is still November. Okay, we got to get through December, January, February, and March. This is not uncommon. This is typical in November, where northwestern and northern Arkansas takes the spotlight for the winter weather, and then it starts moving down in the southern portions of the state as we get towards December and in January and in February. This is not winter at this point. Okay, you're talking mid to late fall. This is our first winter weather event here, and I know a lot of people see this, don't see snowfall, and they immediately think we're not going to see anything in winter. That is not the case. That is a false statement. Okay, so keep that in mind here. We will have more opportunities down the road. Don't lose hope. We haven't even started winter yet. It's just like calling a game before it even began to start. It's not the case, guys. Okay, we're still in mid to late fall. This is very, very common, especially in November, for our folks in northern and northwestern Arkansas. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to radar for just a bit, go over the real-time information at this point. And I said before, temperatures right now are very marginal, and this is why I'm harping you guys so much about the accumulations here, okay? Because accumulations right now are going to be very, very hard to come by because of the fact that you've got temperatures that are very, very marginal. What we mean by marginal means that they're barely right at freezing, okay? And even in some cases, you're seeing winter weather with temperatures 36, 37, 38 degrees. So you're not going to see a significant amount of winter weather. However, for our folks in Central Arkansas, watch this batch coming out of southwestern Arkansas. This may make it towards the metro within the next hour or two. And as I mentioned before, watch out for travel. I want to stress to you guys so much, slow down on the roadways. We've gotten a lot of information on wrecks, especially on I-40, I-30, up there on Interstate 49, up there in northwestern Arkansas. Slow down this evening, guys. I want to stress that, okay? This is not the end of the world. It's not a major winter storm or anything like that. Wherever you got to go, it's going to be there when you get there. So take it easy on the roadways at this point here, okay? But instead of for, we've got rainfall moving into central Arkansas, some light snow, even some heavy snow up there. The higher elevations up here in northern Arkansas. The orange area that you see down here in southwestern Arkansas, that is a mix of rain, sleet, and even in some cases some light snow. Also, one thing I'm also concerned about is dry slotting. Take a look over here in southwestern Arkansas. You're starting to see some dry slotting take place. Basically, what that means is that if that continues to occur, then it's really going to cut down on accumulations even further than we were looking at. So keep that in mind here. That's what I'm saying. This is not a winter storm. This is a quick winter weather event. It's going to be in and out by the time we get towards this evening and into the overnight hours. And by the time we get towards first thing tomorrow morning, it's going to be a faded memory for most areas here. So I know a lot of people are sending in photos, sending in videos and stuff like that. We're going to try to get to everybody as quickly as we can in terms of that. But if y'all have any questions, let me know. This is not going to cancel school, by the way. Okay, and maybe in northern northwestern Arkansas, I can see some delays up here, especially if temperatures fall into the 20s, because you've gotten snow up here today, especially in higher elevations. But this is not going to cancel snow, guys. We did not expect this to be a major winter storm or anything like that. I want to stress that right now, because I know some people are just hoping that this busts and they can just start commenting and stuff like that. We were not expecting this to be a major winter storm. We were stressing that this was going to be a quick winter weather event, and then it was going to be out of here. This is not going to cause any massive traffic issues or anything like that, okay? But we are going to watch it closely as we get towards the night and stuff like that. We'll keep an eye on it. But right now, with temperatures being as warm as they are, especially at the surface, what will happen is you may see a brief changeover, and you're going to see that here in just a little bit. Let's go over to Metro real quick and show you guys what I mean. So this area down here in southwestern Arkansas, watch this closely, because you can see Little Rock's around 43 degrees right now, but look at your dew point. Your dew point's at 34 degrees, so that's room for these temperatures to fall even more down into the 30s, which will be supportive of a rain-snow mix, possibly ending in some light snow, and it's going to be out of our here. Okay, like I said before, this is not a massive winter weather event at this point. I want to stress that right now. We were not expecting this to be a winter storm for us here in Arkansas because of the fact that this is very early in the season. It's very hard to get a winter storm here in Arkansas, especially with these parameters in place here. But you can see just kind of widespread view what we're looking at. Temperatures in the 30s. Even back out here in Oklahoma, this is a very marginal event. Temperatures are not very cold. This is not like we deal with in January or in February where we've got temperatures in the 20s, etc. This is a very marginal event with temperatures in the low to mid 30s, even in some cases some upper 30s, but you're still seeing snowfall because your aloft temperatures are so cold to support it. So that's why we're seeing it across western Arkansas, northwestern Arkansas, even portions of central Arkansas with the sleet earlier. But this is a very marginal event because you can see temperatures across the board. Only areas in the 20s is back out here in the Texas Panhandle and western Oklahoma and southwestern Kansas. A bunch of the area is in the 30s and 40s, even some areas down here along the Gulf Coast. And this is another thing, by the way, that we were concerned about. Look at all these warnings down here in the Gulf of Mexico. You've got some severe thunderstorms down here along the Gulf Coast at this point. So that's robbing your moisture from coming north as well. So this is kind of a combination. If you've been paying attention to our outlooks, this is kind of a combination between scenario 1 and scenario 2, where you have the cold air in place, but you have just enough warm air to kind of throw a little bit of a spoiler for us here in Arkansas. But I still do believe we'll see some winter weather, especially across western, northwestern Arkansas, northern Arkansas, and potentially central Arkansas before this comes to an end here. Okay, so big snowflakes across Edgemont at this point. Rain and sleet in Mount Home. We've got snow in Bentonville up there in northwestern Arkansas. Raining here in Little Rock. Little Rock, we actually had sleet earlier this afternoon before it transitioned over to rainfall at this point. We've got big flakes in Bentonville. We've got sleet in Heber Springs at this time here. And I want to stress this too, okay? So I'm going to talk about this comment real fast here, okay? Biggest thing I want to stress at this point. We did not expect this to be a winter storm at all. We did not expect this to be a big winter weather event or anything like that. I know everybody gets frustrated when they don't see winter weather, which is perfectly fine, but I didn't expect this to be a big winter weather event at all. We were watching the situation closely, especially these things started to underperform and stuff like that, and you can still see some areas over here in western, northwestern Arkansas seeing the winter weather, but we were not expecting this thing being a massive winter weather event across this area here, okay? So let me see here. Yeah, I know. All the radars at this point, this is what I mean across western Arkansas. Let's take a look at this real fast. What we call dry sodding is starting to occur over here in southeastern Oklahoma, northeast Texas, and western Arkansas here. So you guys have seen the winter weather over there in western Arkansas and southwest Arkansas, and it's beginning to move out. That's another thing I was concerned about. The biggest thing when you're forecasting winter weather is you have to account for the potential of bust potential. And the biggest thing is the storms along the Gulf Coast. And I mentioned this morning that this could be a wild card in the situation, that it could limit the moisture from getting into Arkansas, and that's what's going on. Had this been 100 miles to the north, we've been dealing with severe weather days of the winter weather. However, with it being further to the south, we are still seeing multiple reports of winter weather across western Arkansas and northwestern Arkansas. However, with this going on along the Gulf Coast, that is robbing your moisture from coming north. So yes, you're still seeing winter weather across western Arkansas and northern Arkansas, but to a higher extent, it's being limited because of the storms down there in southwestern Arkansas here. Okay, so let me see here. So if I got my moderators in the comments here, please take care of that at this time here. Yeah, I wouldn't even call it, I guess you could call it a winter weather event because you still got winter weather across western and northwestern Arkansas at this time. So it does count for a winter weather event, but just for it being November, I'm not shocked. This does not, and I'm going to go to this comment real quick. Does it foreshadow what winter will look like? No, this does not. It's November, it's early season. It's typical that northwestern and northern Arkansas steals a show versus central and south Arkansas. It's very typical in November. It does not, and I want to make this crystal clear, this does not foreshadow what winter will look like. I want to stress that right now. That's the biggest thing whenever we get these November events, everyone starts throwing white flags on winter. That's not the case, guys, okay? So, let me see here. So, we got sleet and ward at this point. Central Arkansas, so before we're watching this band coming out of southwestern Arkansas here, and I'm curious to see what it does with your dew points being as low as they are. We're going to have to watch that closely as it pushes towards central Arkansas here. So, bear me for just a second here. Let me see if I can switch this over at this point here. Okay, so I'm getting a lot of photos and videos in coming out of northwestern Arkansas at this point of snow ongoing up there in Fayetteville along Interstate 49. Keep in mind, so before you're planning on traveling this evening, be very, very careful across the board. Give me 1 second here. Let me see if I can go over to this at this time here. So give me 1 second here and get the radar going at this point. And I'm getting a lot of photo stuff in. And if I don't get to everybody, I do apologize. But it's 7-4, guys. We're going to watch the situation very closely here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over to our map here. So this is what we got. This is the snowfall accumulation at this point. And I want to stress this. And we've had this kind of ongoing throughout much of the last couple of days here that we've been talking about the winter weather potential here. Okay, so give me 1 second here. I'm going through the comments right now, guys. I'm seeing a lot of spam and stuff like that. So give me 1 second here, and I'm also going to get to everyone's questions here. Okay, so Futurecast. I'm gonna have Futurecast up here in just a little bit. Give me 1 second. At this point, okay, I think we're good to go. I think we're good to go across the area here. And I know a lot of people are kind of upset with us and stuff like that. That's perfectly fine. Keep the comments professional and nice. I want to stress that right now. I don't know why we have this issue when we deal with winter weather, but please keep it professional and nice down there, guys. I know everyone's kind of upset and stuff like that. We're not seeing winter weather and stuff like that, but please keep that in mind that this does not impact upcoming winter. It does not at all. This is November. It's very, very typical that northern Arkansas sees the winter weather. I think we're good on the comments. So I'm going to go back over and start pulling up some comments on our side. I wanted to just double check that because we were getting a lot of spam. So give me 1 second here and we go over to this at this time here. Okay, so I'm going to answer some questions here. I'm going to make this kind of a short live stream and stuff like that. Okay, so give me 1 second here. Futurecast for 9 to get that up here in just a bit. Central Arkansas has been freezing rain off and on since about 3:30. Yeah, I know. You guys had sleet earlier in Central Arkansas, and then it transitioned over to rainfall. And I said before, we're going to watch this activity coming out of southwestern Arkansas and see what it does here. And look at there. Look at the latest scan. Look what's going on over here in western Arkansas. Now let's go back over to our radar at this point. You can see what happened. The latest scan. Look at there. Yale County over here. Saline County, Garland County, you're now starting to transition over to snow. So this is what we got going at this point. Your loft temperatures are starting to crash, and I would not be shocked within the next hour or two that our folks here in Central Arkansas sees some winter weather. I've been stressed for the last couple of days. This is not going to be a massive winter weather event across the area at this point. Okay, so let me see here. If you have any questions, let me know. Let me see. Well, I got tongue-tied. Will West Memphis get anything? No, I don't think you guys are going to see anything over there in West Memphis because this system is moving northeast. Let's talk about this real quickly and kind of dissect this system, kind of answer everybody's questions at once. Okay, so here's a couple of things of what's wrong with this map here, and I'm going to kind of address a lot of comments right now because I know a lot of people are upset with us and stuff like that in terms of not seeing winter weather. So I'm going to kind of break this down and show you guys why we're not seeing it here in Central Arkansas or anywhere else. Okay, northwestern Arkansas, what's going on is the track of the low is along the Red River. So your track went just like this, okay, and it's going northeast. So what's going on is the majority of your cold air associated with our storm system is moving northeast. That's why central, western, and northwestern Arkansas is much favored versus southern and eastern Arkansas. That's why I wasn't expecting this thing to be a massive winter storm for us here to begin with. Okay. However, we're going to still watch it because what's going on is we're getting into the nighttime hours. We've already lost our daytime heating. So what will happen is temperatures will begin to cool off, and you will start seeing a transition from rain to sleet to potentially all snow before this all comes in. But this was not expected to be a massive winter storm here. This track does not favor massive winter storm for us here in Arkansas. You need this track to go something like this before you start talking massive winter storm potential here in Arkansas. Because you can see up here in Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, Missouri, this is where they're seeing the brunt of the snow because they're on the north side of the track. Look at the difference in the tracks here. This is the current track right now with the low. This is what you need to get winter weather here in Arkansas. Also, one more thing. You've got severe storms along the Gulf Coast. And I mentioned this morning that this was a legit possibility that it could rob our moisture here in Arkansas and kind of end the tail for any kind of massive accumulations here across the state. So whenever you have severe weather ongoing across the Gulf Coast, that limits your moisture. So marginal temperatures, marginal moisture coming north, along with your amount of cold air aloft going to the north and west of the state, does not equal a massive winter storm for us here in Arkansas. Okay, I know a lot of people saw it in the forecast and they immediately got excited and didn't read the details that we were harping so much for everyone to read. But the biggest thing, guys, is whenever you have severe weather along the Gulf Coast, it normally ruins your winter weather event here in Arkansas. And the track just didn't support it, except for our folks over here in western Arkansas, northern Arkansas, and potentially central Arkansas. I'd be very curious to see what happens over the next hour to 3 hours, because you can see what happened in Mena. Mena went from about 42, 43 degrees to 32. Look what's going on over here. And you can see it starting to build in across Saline County and western Pulaski County at this point. So I'll be very curious to see what happens over the next couple of hours here in central Arkansas before this starts to come to an end. Also, northwestern, northern Arkansas, you guys are the most favored up here, and you can see how your temperatures are rapidly falling. So this is going to include much of the winter weather advisory area along Interstate 40, higher elevations up here, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Harrison. You guys are seeing the snow over here at this point. This is the area that we've been harping so much that was going to be the area of potential of all snow, and this is what we're getting. But for our folks in central, northeastern Arkansas, down to southwest, it's fitting to what we kind of forecast. We had all rain mixing in with sleet. We had sleet earlier, and then mixing in with some light snow at the very end, and I do believe we're seeing that transpire across the state at this point. In southern Arkansas, we expect it to be a cold rain altogether. Eastern Arkansas, same thing for you. So that's the biggest thing here, and I'm going to go back over to our winter weather outlook from this morning, because let me see something real quickly. I'm going to go over to our winter weather outlook this morning and show you guys what I was talking about. So give me 1 second here. Let me see if I can get that up and running at this point. And I'm going to take a few more questions, and then I'm going to hop off of here, guys, and we'll have updates throughout the evening and into the overnight hours here. So give me 1 second here. Let me double check and make sure that this is the updated version of our winter weather outlook here. It should be popping up at any moment. But basically what we were talking about earlier here, where we have that green area here. Let me see 1 second here. Okay, so it didn't update for some odd reason here, but let's go over to that real quick and show you guys what I mean here. Okay, so the green area down here in southwestern, southern, and eastern Arkansas is what we were expecting the cold rain to begin with. We were not expecting this to be a massive winter storm at all. But let's take a look at this real quick. Okay, so ignore the thing at the bottom. Let me take a look. Let me do this real fast so you guys can ignore that real quick. Okay, so give me 1 second here. See if I can do that. All right, perfect. So the area in green is going to be where we had all cold rain. So this is from the outlook from this morning. Just a little bit of tweaking here and there from the 6 p.m. update. The area in white from Mena to Mount Home to just northwest of Hot Springs was the area we saw all snow, which it verified. We had sleet, snow, and higher elevations. Northwestern Arkansas from Fayetteville to Fort Smith to Russellville to Mountain View, Mount Home. That's where we had the all snow, and that's what we got going at this point. The area in purple from Jonesboro to Walnut Ridge down to the metro is for rain to a mix, which we saw earlier with the sleet, and then the snowfall. That's what we got ongoing at this point. So this forecast, as much as it's disappointing, is actually verifying 100% versus what we were originally kind of anticipating across the board. So this is what we got. We had this for the last couple of days here, guys. I know everybody's kind of excited about the winter weather, but that's the biggest thing. Okay, so will there be any more snow in Waldron? I think you guys are done over there in western Arkansas for this event. Southern Arkansas, cold rain. All right, will this be the last winter weather threat for a while? I do believe so. Temperatures are going to warm up a lot as we get towards Thanksgiving, and then we will have to watch that early December time frame, but we'll have to watch it very, very closely here. But right now, I do believe that this is going to be the last one for a while here. Okay, Clarksville along the Interstate 40 area, I do believe you guys are going to see it. It's just the problem is, and this is like I said before, this is a very mesoscale event, that down in the valley areas, I would not be shocked if you guys didn't see all snow because of the fact that it's just too much warm air that this is trying to overcome at this point. I see radar right now, and it's trying to close in. I do believe that you will transition over the next hour or so, but we'll have to watch it closely, guys. But the biggest thing here is I want to stress, and I know everybody's disappointed, upset, stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. We deal with it every winter season. This is not going to be our last winter weather event, guys. It's just November. We got December, February, and January, okay? Keep it professional, keep it nice. I understand the frustration, but don't go bashing our forecasters, you guys, because it's just going to end with a block. So, how's Sherwood looking in Central Arkansas? Getting good sleep, but will it change over? I do believe so. I see radar trying to transition this over here in Central Arkansas, and I'll be very interested to see what happens. And Little Rock has now fallen to 38 degrees, so it'll be very interesting to see what happens here in Central Arkansas within the next hour. So, yes, this is live, by the way. I'm just going over questions at this point here, okay? So, give me just 1 second here. Give me 1 second. I have my phone somewhere around here. But anyways, okay, so I saw that question earlier. As long as the roads aren't bad, I'll be perfectly happy. Hate iced over roads. I think the roads are going to be fine, except for northwestern and northern Arkansas. That's where we're going to be expecting the massive, some iced over roadways up there in northwest Arkansas, especially tonight and the early part of your Tuesday morning here. An hour and a half ago was sleeting, it turned back to rain, and now it turned back to rain and ice. I don't know where that location. Oh, it's up there in northwestern Arkansas. So it's kind of a mix of precipitation up there at this point. What's going on is that this is transitioning over to rain and ice because there's some warm air aloft that it's trying to overcome. Granted, it's 7 o'clock in the evening. We're not really into the nighttime hours yet. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens over the next couple of hours. But the biggest thing is we're going to have to watch it closely here. Yeah, I know up there in South Dakota, you guys are getting snow up there from Michael Poland's, one of our followers up there in South Dakota here. He's seeing the snow up there at this point here. Okay, so Russellville may actually see some snow. Yeah, I do believe that you guys will see snow here. Let's go back over to radar real quickly and bear me for just a bit. There's current radar at this time here. And you can see what happens right as this band is becoming to come into Interstate 40. And you can see right in there, let's zoom down to the Interstate 40 area. There's snowfall potential coming into western Saline County, western Pulaski County over here, Garland County. You're seeing a good amount of winter weather ongoing right now. But it'll be very interesting to see what happens along Interstate 40 because I've seen time and time again where northern Polk County up there in higher elevation sees it, but down in the valley areas, you get heavy rainfall. It happens. We've seen this time and time again with multiple winter weather events. It just does not mean that we're not going to see anything in the winter. I just want to stress that right now here, okay? So, let me see here. Yeah, I know. That was my bad. I meant December, January, February. I got tongue-tied there. I apologize for that. Let me see here. So, heavy sleet in Hot Springs Village right now. That's Sports Support radar. Let me see here. Okay, so will Cabot see snow and ice since it's on the line? Perhaps. I want to see what happens out of this because we're getting a lot of reports of sleet and snow coming out of Garland County at this point. I want to see what happens with this band as it pushes off towards the northeast. Let's see what happens once it makes it in the metro towards Cabot. I do believe it will be a quick transition. I don't think it's going to cause a lot of issues here in the metro, but granted, even though we've seen a little bit of sleet, it has caused some wrecks along Interstate 40 and stuff like that. So take it easy on the roadways, guys, at this point here. Okay, so just tuning in. What am I missing with the Conway area? Conway. Let's see what happens out of this because per current radar at this point, we are seeing some snowfall starting to get going over here. We'll have to wait and see if this continues towards Conway at this point. But right now, I want to stress that it will have to wait and see it. Let's see what happens because right now I'm just looking at radar and you can easily tell what's going on. There's some warm air aloft and I think I know what's going on. At your 925 millibar level, and I talked about this morning, you have what we call a warm nose in place. And basically what's going on is the cold air is trying to erode that warm nose in place across Arkansas right now. But the problem is your system is moving so fast, will it have enough time to erode that warm nose before the precipitation comes to an end? We'll have to wait and see. But I think that's what's going on across the board because as a result of your storm system over here along the Red River moving northeast. Had this been about 100 miles south, we've been talking a whole different ball game across the area here. Okay, so Jonesboro, we're talking primarily rain up there, but I can't rule out a brief change over to sleet and snow before this all comes to an end across the area here. And this area down here in southwestern Arkansas, I think you're done. I think what's going on here is you have a lot of dry air coming in, and it's dry sodding much of southwestern and western Arkansas. So I think this is going to be it. I think this is going to be it. You may have to wait and see what happens with this area, but I think you just have too much dry air in place. And I can take a look at our water vapor imaging. There it is right there. That's what I was talking about. So you've got dry sodding ongoing across northeast Texas, southeastern Oklahoma, western Arkansas here, and that's what's going to cut off the precipitation as we get towards the evening into the night here. So it's going to be a quick hitting system. It's going to be out of here, and we should be done by the time we get towards the overnight hours at this time here. Okay, so sleet in North Little Rock at this point. Let me see here. Snow in Fayetteville. What about Malvern, Arkansas? Malvern, like I mentioned before, we'll have to wait and see what comes out of this band coming out of southwestern Arkansas. Brief changeover. We're not expecting a massive amount of accumulation here in central Arkansas. We never did. We had it at a trace to a half an inch for us here in central Arkansas, which is not very high when you think about it. Let me see here. I don't think seriously we get anything. Temperatures are just too high. And like I mentioned before, I talked about this morning. And whenever you're forecasting winter weather, it's just that there's always that 20% bust potential. It's granted, with severe weather, tropical weather, any kind of weather here in Arkansas, there's always that bust potential. And it's just because of the track of the low. Obviously, the higher elevations of northern Arkansas and northwest Arkansas verified to a T. No questions asked. Southwestern, central, and northeast Arkansas, I stressed this morning, but I know a lot of people kind of tuned it out because they're more excited about winter weather. It was a very tricky forecast. It could have gone either way across the board, and that's what's going on. You just have too much warm air advection coming in, and the cold air is trying to erode that warm air in place. And the problem is this system is moving out so fast that I don't think you're going to have enough time for that to occur. Could you still see a transition in central Arkansas? Most likely, yes. Could it occur in northeastern Arkansas? Definitely. Northeast Arkansas, you have the advantage because it will be 10, 11, midnight by the time this gets up to northeastern Arkansas. So you have the advantage. Also, your dew points up here around 29, 30 degrees. So what's going to happen is your temperatures are going to fall throughout the late evening and into the overnight hours, and you will have a chance for this transitioning over before this system gets out of here. But this area in particular, from the Queen to the Metro up here, was very, very tricky forecast. This was a very tricky forecast to kind of nail down to the board because of the fact that you have to account for the warm air advection, all the other stuff here. So I know a lot of people are disappointed or mad, etc. You guys will be fine. It's November. You got December, January, February. This is not the end of winter weather. Okay, this is just one event, and it'll be all over with, and we'll start talking about more as we get towards December and into January and February and stuff like that. I'm in Austin. I've seen sleet for an hour, and is Cabot going to be getting it? I do believe you will have to wait and see what happens here in Cabot. Like I said before, it's just depending on what happens with this band here. And I can zoom this down and kind of show you guys what I mean here. So this band coming into Hot Springs right now, this is where you're going to have to watch and see what happens when it comes to Little Rock, Conway, in the Cabot area at this point here. Okay, so also let me see here. I do believe Dustin's in the comments. Thank you, Dustin, for coming in the comments at this point here. Okay, so what do you think about northeastern Arkansas transition? You will have to wait and see what happens up there in northeastern Arkansas from rain, brief transition to sleet and snow, and then it's over with up there. Russellville, I'm very concerned that you guys may get screwed out of this event. I've seen this happen so many times in the River Valley where the higher elevations are getting a good amount of snow and the valley areas are just too warm. I do believe that is going on right now. I want to double check something at this point. Your dew point temperature is at 34, so you have a little bit of room to fall, and I'll be very interested to see what happens. But right now, you're kind of stuck between two areas of snow over here near Danville and up here near northern Polk County, P-O-P-E, up here in this area. So you're kind of stuck between the two. So I'll be very interested to see if this kind of connects down into the valley. But right now, based off radar trends, I don't think it's going to happen. But let's see what happens across the board. Fort Smith, you guys should be seeing winter weather over there right now. You're another area that's going to be just like Russellville. Down in the valley areas is where the warm air is at its highest. Up in the higher elevations, you're able to tap into the cold air even more, and that's why you're rapidly transitioning over to snow across the area. Reports of sleet around Cabot and Searcy. That is with this band coming out of the metro right now, going up into the Cabot area, so there's reports of sleet with that as well. And yes, Dustin, that's what we meant by a nowcast event. It literally depended on when the event arrived, how fast it was moving, and stuff like that here. So that's the biggest thing across the year here. And also, yeah, I know people need to remember his name is Cameron, not Chad Frost. I know. I tried, guys. I tried. But the biggest thing here is that it's just too freaking early. Climo does not support winter weather in November. And it happens on occasion where you get winter weather and it happens and stuff like that. But this event, it's just, I didn't like the track. A Red River to a northwestern Arkansas track never supports winter storm potential here in Arkansas. You always want the low pressure to go from central Texas to central Louisiana and to central Mississippi. That's a track for winter storm potential here in Arkansas. You never want a low pressure to go south of the Red River and try to track northeast, because it will always end as a cold rain, brief transition, and then that's it, unless you're in the higher elevations or you're in northwestern Arkansas here. And that's what we've got at this point. So yes, this is an ongoing live stream, by the way. I know everybody's kind of tuning in, kind of wondering, this is a live. This is a live at this point. What about tomorrow morning commute around 3 a.m.? Can you give me a location, and we can evaluate from there? But if you're up there in northwestern Arkansas, I will say watch the roadways tonight, especially on Interstate 49 up here in northwestern Arkansas. So you can see temperatures rapidly falling to 34 degrees, and I do believe you will fall even more throughout the overnight hours, especially if this gets out of here fast enough and you start seeing clear skies. I wouldn't be shocked if you guys woke up in the 20s up there with some road condition problems up there in northwestern Arkansas by the time we get towards tomorrow morning. Okay, so sleet is accumulating in my patio here in Vidonia. That's why I was saying Central Arkansas, as a matter of fact, you want to go back to our forecast, I actually verified. I think it did pretty good. I know a lot of people are disappointed because they were expecting this to be a massive winter storm in Central Arkansas, but if you looked at the overall graphic, I think it verified pretty decently for what we had going on here. Given that Mall Guys was all over the place, it ended up being a nowcast situation. I think the graphic did a really good job in terms of trying to grade this event here. Okay, so let me see here. Cal, I do appreciate that, man. We try our best here. We can't please everybody, and that's fine. But I do appreciate that comment, man. It means a lot. Jacksonville into the metro, so you should be good. Now, the biggest thing I'm concerned about is this dry air coming in out of northeast Texas and southeast Oklahoma. Basically, what's going to happen is your skies are going to rapidly clear. And when this system moves to the northeast, your winds are going to shift from southeast to northwest. If you get clear skies tonight and northwest winds, and it's calm, temperatures are going to plummet throughout the overnight hours. When you really needed this system to be delayed, you needed this system to be an overnight event because it would allow temperatures to cool off even more, and we just probably saw a widespread winter weather event. However, with it coming in the mid to late evening hours, it's just not supportive of it. But anyways, if we can get this to clear out with dry air in place, if the roadways are still wet and your temperatures fall below freezing overnight, you will see some commute issues, but we'll watch it closely here. But I'm really concerned for our folks up there in northwestern Arkansas, especially up there on Interstate 49 at this point here. Okay, so cold rain, yeah, okay. So Dustin was answering that comment at this point here. So from Hattieville to Morrilton, we'll wait and see. Let's see if you can transition over to snow before this comes to an end. But it's going to be a wait and see across the area here. Okay, so it's going to stick up there in northwestern Arkansas. I do believe you guys are actually seeing snowfall actually starting to stick up there in northwestern Arkansas. I'm going to be pulling up some photos and stuff like that here in just a little bit. I'm going to go over our PM. So if y'all have that, let me know. Let me know in the messages and stuff like that, and we'll try to get it up on air at this point here. Okay, so let me see here. Let me see here. So, snow next week when I come down to northern Arkansas. No, temperatures are actually going to be a lot warmer next week. I'm actually thinking we may be rebounding back into the 60s and 70s. And yeah, I know you're going from one extreme to the other. I'm feeling it. I got a whole cold right now because of the temperature swings right now. So, yes, temperatures are actually going to warm up by the time we get towards Thanksgiving. Tomorrow, I am going to have an early look on the Thanksgiving time frame and kind of see what we're looking at. But early looks suggest that we could potentially be talking about temperatures in the 60s and 70s for highs for Thanksgiving. It's going to be a pretty warm Thanksgiving for us here in Arkansas. So we'll wait and see what happens with that at this point here, okay? But let me see here. Okay, so what about Hot Springs? In the morning, I have 2 appointments. You should be good to go. I don't think this is going to accumulate or anything like that. Just be careful across the area. I think you'll be fine and ready to go. Mount Home up there, you will see snowfall as we get towards the evening and into the overnight hours. Watch out on the roadways first thing in the morning up there in Mount Home at this point, and also up there in northwestern Arkansas. So I do believe that is it for all the questions. I answered the one in Mount Home snow transitioning by the time we get towards late this evening and into tonight. Let's stop radar for just a bit. Give me 1 second. I'm going to stop radar for just a second, and we're going to go over to our Futurecast real fast, if it will allow me to do that. Okay, give me 1 second here. We'll go over our Futurecast real quick, and then we'll go from there here. So, 1 second here. Let me see if I can get this up and running for you guys. And we're going to switch this over here, okay? So, just taking a look at everything I said before, this event actually did pretty good for what we forecast here at Arkansas Little Washers and stuff like that. I want to say it did pretty good. Let me see here. Let's go over to let's go to 10 o'clock this evening here. So we're gonna switch this over. Okay, so this is right around 10 o'clock this evening. Let me go back over to reflectivity real fast. I'm gonna let that download, and then we're gonna go over to reflectivity. Okay, so this is gonna be the precipitation time. Should be coming up here shortly here. But you can see this is around 10 o'clock tonight. Let's go over to 9 real quickly here. It's back to stuff. So you can see, basically, this is ongoing radar right now. Basically, what's going on. Transition over here in western Saline County. Hot Springs seen at northwestern Arkansas, higher elevations. 9 o'clock, this starts moving into much of north central Arkansas. This is going to come to an end very quickly in central Arkansas. Didn't expect much to begin with. However, this is what we got. Okay, so 9 o'clock up here in northwestern Arkansas, higher elevations up here in northern Arkansas. Good event for you guys. The track supported it. Mina, I'll be very interested to see if we get some more precipitation developing on the backside of this. 10 o'clock should be heading out. And then 11 o'clock tonight, let's go over that real quickly. Okay. And should be pulling up here just shortly. And you can see from Mount Home over here, northern Arkansas, this should be moving out very quickly. Northeastern Arkansas, primarily in all rain, but I can't rule out a transition over to some brief snow up there in northeastern Arkansas. Okay, so I know everybody's concerned about central Arkansas. I want to stress this and make this as crystal clear as possible. No travel impacts here in central Arkansas. You are good. This track does not support massive winter weather here in central Arkansas. Northern, northwestern higher elevations took the show with this one. Had your track been further south, we'd have been dealing with it. But I don't think you're going to see a lot of winter weather here in central Arkansas with this event. And we expected it. We only had a trace to a half an inch of winter weather from central Arkansas to northeastern Arkansas here. And this is basically what you get. Majority rain, transition to a winter mix, ending as some light snow across the area. And then that's it. By the time we get towards 3 a.m., this is moving out. I'll be very interested to see temperatures across the board because temperatures may start to cool off. And then you may see some travel impacts up here in northern Arkansas, higher elevations along Interstate 49, over here on Interstate 40 or Fort Smith. We'll have to watch it closely at this point. But for central Arkansas, you should be A-OK for a morning commute. At this point, just watch out. Just be careful on the roadways, guys. Cynthia, this is what we're going over right now. It's the Futurecast. Stone County, looks like you'll be getting that winter mix as we get towards later this evening and into the night. Let me double check and make sure we're good. You're going to be good to go, Haley, from McRae to Cersei. You'll be good to go here in central Arkansas. I'm not expecting any sort of travel issues across the area. Okay, so I think that is it in terms of that. I'm going to go over this real fast and kind of reevaluate everything here. So basically, this is our winter weather outlook, and this is what we had from the get-go. Accumulations, read number 1. Accumulations will be greater on elevated surfaces and higher elevation. That's what we got up there in northwestern Arkansas, so that's check. Some areas may experience a brief period of rain snow mix, even in areas not highlighted. given the super cold aloft temperatures. That's what we saw this afternoon, this evening. Travel will be hazardous, especially in higher elevations. That's what we got in northwestern Arkansas. Some areas may experience locally heavy snowfall at times. That's what we got at this point. So basically, I would probably rate this probably about 95% right on the dot. Basically from what we had at this point. In terms of accumulations, let's talk about accumulations. Trace to a half an inch from Walnut Ridge to Jonesboro to Little Rock. Trace to a half inch will be possible. Higher elevations over here, 1 to 2 inches of snow. Up here in northwestern Arkansas, we're going to verify this greatly with snow developing overnight. And this is what we got. So that's what I'm saying here, guys. I know a lot of people are upset with us and stuff like that, but based off of our graphics, I don't see how we busted with this event. I think we did really good with this event here, guys. So I think that is it in terms of that. Let me see here. Yeah, I know in bed rest, Dr. Order let it snow. I'm hoping your area does see some snow here. Missing out Mississippi County, and I want to stress this, guys, before I hop off of here. It's not going to be our last winter weather event, okay? We've got 3 months of a whole winter season we got to get into before we start waving white flags and stuff like that. It's November. It's early season. It's very typical that northern northwest Arkansas steals the show. It's climate speaking, that's where you would normally see the snowfall. It's not normal to see snowfall in central or in southern or in eastern Arkansas, especially this time of year. Can it happen? Obviously, yes, but unfortunately, it's not the case this time around. Like I said before, we've got 3 more months of winter season that we've got to go into and stuff like that before we start doing all that. But I want to stress that right now. If you're disappointed, I understand. I get the frustration. But look at the hindsight. It's November, not December, nor January or February. We got all that time to watch out for winter weather here, guys. So if you missed out with this event, don't lose hope or anything like that. We will have our opportunity down the road here, guys. So that's all I got for you guys tonight. I'm not expecting to go back on live stream tonight or anything like that. We'll have updates on the page. We'll have your photos and videos and stuff like that on the page and stuff like that. We'll have all the information for you guys, and we'll continue to keep you guys updated right here in your source for all things Arkansas weather.